Hi. So in light of Elon's final boss battle with the Twitter, I thought I would do a video on free speech absolutism, or rather my opposition to free speech absolutism. A very tricky argument indeed, so I shall navigate with great care, because free speech absolutism is something I think many on the right worship in the abstract. Naturally then, I am a tad skeptical of free speech absolutism, but in saying I am skeptical, it does not mean that free speech, or some version thereof, still isn't the best bet going forward. It very well might be, but acknowledge that it has some glaring defects that are very obvious if you think about it for more than 30 seconds and stop being an idealistic nonny about it. The old saying you best bad speech with more speech might be true, but it is not sufficient. That axiom rests on the presupposition that the superior speech will always win, and that's simply not true. The best battle plan it might be, but a victorious outcome is not guaranteed. That statement is true of machines and the generating or altering of superior code, but it's not true for humans. We are not that black and white, we are multidimensional. Humans are not driven by rationality and logic. Well, at least not in masses anyway. They're driven by emotion and swayed by the crowd because it's easier. As such, it is not simply a matter of speech or ideas deemed superior by some or other objective metric, but also the oratory prowess that is used to sway the hearts of men. Recognize then that society as a mass has no thought of their own. They are moved by the forces on the fringe. If you're going to wait for the masses to suddenly wise up, you are on the road to doom. The sheep need a shepherd, and if they aren't led by one of benevolence, they will be led to evil by something nefarious. Just because you're awake and initiated does not mean those around you are as well. And so, you can't have absolute anything. To do so would be the diminishment of any standard. You can't have deconstructionism run amok. Your society will destabilize and collapse. It's suicidal. In reality, we don't have absolute free speech in concept, nor in practice in our society, or anywhere else for that matter. We're aware some things are inappropriate to utter depending on the company and the audience, and as such we practice restraint. It's called morality. And morality supersedes free speech every time, and presently, often to society's detriment. And so it becomes this delicate balancing act of forces. For whom do we practice this restraint, and why? And is there any such institution that is required for the regulation and enforcement of such moral character? Before, you'd hold your tongue lest you end up guilty of a social faux pas. Now we've held it for so long, we've spawned this protected class of mentally ill demons who are plagued with ideological stupidity, who are seemingly free to subvert society with very little resistance. And how has the radical left attained their status? Because society let them talk, which in hindsight was a really bad fucking idea. And the main weapon the left has is the innocent positivity of their sloganeering. Things like diversity and inclusivity sound appealing, progressive even, to the uninitiated. And so society has allowed their degeneracy to slowly seep in unsuspectingly due to the perceived morality of their goals. It is only when you scratch below the surface, which most people won't do, will you see the left for what they are, perverted psychotic totalitarians, and realize they won't stop because they are possessed zealots, so fire up the damn cannons. And it's not like we weren't warned about this. Christians decades ago told you are inviting hell into our midst if you give these damn people an inch. They will push a gay agenda, they will indoctrinate your children, and try and destroy the nuclear family. Here is the kicker though. All of that sounds fucking nuts. And I said before, if you're going to try and pull off something deeply subversive that dwarfs your society, make it sound as insane as you can, because no one believes it. Humans in mass formation, for some reason I can't figure out, seem to underestimate that their fellow man has the capacity for great evil. Stop living in this idealistic fantasy world where you think all humans are kind and sweet and benevolent creatures. That is an utter farce. Free speech is a great power, and absolutism guarantees the abuse of that power. Much like the libertarian world, you need a few things in your society that are absolutely off limits. You need the bulwark, lest you open the floodgates and invite the asylum to denigrate your society into degeneracy. And speaking of degeneracy, here's a few things we aren't supposed to utter, but screw that, I'm not one to bow down to a mob of morons. Transgenderism is a mental illness, and anyone teaching that crap should be ostracized from society and lobotomized. If you want to teach children of a single-digit age about adult sexual practices, you should be fired out of a cannon, no question. There is no such thing as trans children. That is a child suffering at the hands of mentally deranged adults. And if you disagree with any of this, I have 5 words for you. Get bent, go to hell. I will never cock and bow to the psychotic degeneracy. You can kiss my spiffy tux-wearing ass. Bollocks to you.